Hi, my name is Megan Elks, and in this video I'll be going over how to take care of your reeds for your saxophone. Your reeds are one of the most important parts of your playing. That being said, they're also very fragile. Any nick or chip in the reed could have big effects on your sound. For that reason, you'll want to be very careful with your reeds. Be gentle as you take them in and out of their plastic covers or anytime you're moving around with your reeds. There are two things to focus on when it comes to reeds. First is what you're doing with the reed before you play, and second, how you're storing the reed when you're not playing. Before you play, you'll want to soak the reed in some capacity. You have a couple of different options on how to do this. The first and easiest way is to soak the reed in your mouth. So for a couple of seconds, you'll put the top end into your mouth, just like that, and then you'll do the same thing with the back end. Easy enough. Now, what I generally prefer to do with my reeds is to have some container of water that I can let them sit in while I put my saxophone together or do something else before I'm about to play. I use this container. It's about the size of a pill bottle. You could also use those, or if you have a cup laying around, that works just as well. I would do the exact same thing as if I were to soak the reed in my mouth. So I would put the tip in, probably about 30 seconds to a minute, and then once that's done, I'll flip it around to soak the bottom end of the reed. Once you've soaked your reed, you can go ahead and put it onto the mouthpiece and it should be ready to play. Now, for reed storage, you've got a couple of different options, but what stays consistent between the options is that they're generally airtight storage options. Your first option is a plastic bag. Simple as this. You'll keep the reeds in the plastic covers, maybe even in the box if you prefer it that way, and then store it in this plastic bag. Another option is Tupperware containers. So I've used some as small as this, which holds about 8 or 9 reeds, or then some as big as this, which gives me a lot more reeds to choose from. It doesn't have to be a fancy container. I've also used this one that I pulled straight from my kitchen. Your last option is an actual reed case. So this one's from D'Addario and holds about 8 reeds, 4 in the front, 4 in the back. I really like this because it keeps my reeds nice and organized. The most important part in all of these containers is going to be the humidity pack. So you can buy a humidity pack from an external vendor such as D'Addario or a couple of other companies, but that's what's going to maintain the humidity level of your container. These humidity packets are very important so that the reed never completely dries out. If your reed dries out too much, it'll be constantly yo-yoing between a very dry climate and a very wet climate, as in when you're playing. We want to try and minimize that difference and find some level of stability. If you do choose to keep your reeds in a Tupperware container, still keep them in those plastic covers to protect the tip of the reed. There's one last thing to mention, and that's what to do if you ever find mold on your reed. If you ever find little patches of green or black on the front or back of the reed, that's most likely mold. It probably happened because the container you're storing your reeds in just got a little too humid. If there's too much moisture in that container, the reeds will mold. It's totally okay if this happens. It happens to all of us, but it's best to just throw out the reeds and buy a new box. If you find that you're having a lot of trouble with inconsistent reeds or reeds molding or chipping, I would highly recommend a synthetic reed. I personally love the Leger Signature synthetic reeds. They're very consistent day to day. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. I'd love to hear back from you, and thanks for watching.